Welcome back. I've been absent for a little bit. It's been a while. I've been in Vietnam. I've been in Norway. More about that later. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to make a little video about what the number one struggles are for most people when it comes to trading in general, but in this case, trading prop firms and trading the NASDAQ. All right, NASDAQ futures, that's what we're on. So I'm just gonna get straight into it and then we can talk about all the bullshit later, all right? For the people here that want to learn trading. Oh, and by the way, the Apex accounts that I was talking about, like 26th of December, I just got my second max payout on them this year, so ta-da, yeah. So now you know I'm not full of shit, now you know I make money. Now listen to what I'm telling you. CPI's tomorrow. I'm gonna be streaming in the Discord for free when CPI drops. So if you want to join, I'm gonna put the link to the free Discord in the description. So that's gonna be interesting. Also, I got a new car. It's a Ram TRX. We can look at it later after we've done the learning. Now, there's really three main struggles, all right? The first one is always over leveraging. Impatience, right? You're not gonna get anywhere. Newsflash. You're not gonna get anywhere. Trust me, I've been there. I've tried it. Didn't get anywhere. I blew all the accounts. I got into debt. And I just ended up regretting it later. Number two, I'm keeping this very simple, by the way. Number two, strategy hopping. If you strategy hop, you're not collecting a single piece of valuable data at all. You're not creating any discretion. You can't even backtest. Everything you're doing is just random. You're gonna blow everything and you're gonna get into debt and just blow accounts, right? Even to just learn how to view the market, right? Discretion. How candles print, daily highs and lows, daily bias, market maker models, how to identify everything. If you don't stick to something, how are you gonna identify things? You change strategy every week and you expect to get good at all of them? No, bro. You have to stick to something for 3 months, get really good at that thing, and then you're gonna start to develop discretion, right? And then you can start mixing in all the mechanic entry models, et cetera, et cetera. Stop trying to find the new gold mine. Stop listening to what people on social media are trading. Find something that makes sense to you, start learning it, stick to it, and then you're gonna make money. Cut the noise, all right? Now, number three is this one, which this video is mainly focused on because it is more technical. Stop obsessing over the 1 minute time frame, all right? I'm gonna spill too much sauce in this video, but I'm sick of seeing this shit. We need some change. First of all, not gonna have too much about this, keeping it simple though. Bias for me. This is about yesterday. All right, we're looking at yesterday's price action specifically. Bias for me, relative equal highs up here, and this looks like a market maker buy model. At least it did until today, because what the fuck is this? Anyways, 9:30 market open, all right? As you guys know, yesterday we had NFP, which is this candle right here. And what NFP usually does is that it makes a move and it makes that move until market opens, and then we usually reverse that move, all right? CPI is the opposite. CPI usually makes a move and it usually just keeps making that move for the entire day. That is at least what the probabilities are like. So knowing this information, going into market open, being short biased was more than fair. I wanted to talk a little bit about entry triggers, all right? I do have some videos about this, but it was about time I made a better video about this, all right? So as you guys know, we have our key opens. I do have videos about this. Probably not gonna make any more. I'm not gonna try to overcomplicate this. But anyways, this is our 10 a.m. key open, right? And then we got midnight open as well, right there. right at our 10 a.m. open. So I'm not going to mark both. But yeah, let's look at market open and what it did and what we could have done and what we could have prevented. So short bias down to this low. I was live in the Discord when we swept out this pre-market high. I was kind of like, we should go to 940s, or sorry, 240s. 340s. My bad. My brain just farted. Which is just this 15-minute gap. It's not any 15-minute gap. It is a 15-minute gap with no bottom wick. All right. These are super sus. We want to see these get taken. Having a candle with no bottom wick is extremely rare, that it just leaves it and never comes back. All right. Little pro tip. This goes mostly for 4-hour candles. That's why I use the 4-hour key open or the 10 a.m. key open. But yeah, anyways, entry triggers off of these levels. Now, if you were not short bias, you wanted longs after we tap into this 340 level, we get a beautiful 1-minute entry trigger, right? Which we can use. And it is a valid trade setup. It is a valid risk reward, all that stuff, whatever you want to target. If you wanted to be greedy and target something crazy, then yes, you would have gotten break even. So this is like the first setup of the day. And I'm going to delete that now. I'm just going to go over every single entry trigger that we got down to this NFP and after it, all right? Then we get this one, which fine, it plays out for a little 50-point move-ish, which is good. You can definitely take profit at 50 points. I do that sometimes. Definitely a valid trade. Probably me, I would have gotten break even on this as well. Would have moved my stop loss to break even after we tap into this 1-minute gap. That is a place where we could potentially reverse. Now, after this 10 a.m. open and we manipulate up like this, and we have a lower target like this, NFP, low, right? Boom, looking for shorts. Now, first 1-minute entry trigger after this manipulation leg is this. Never gets tapped back into, fair enough. Next one is this. Now, I don't like this because it didn't tap into the 10 a.m. key open again, which I prefer that it does, but it did play out either way, down to NFP low, and it would have looked like this, right? Now you can use the CE, you can use the beginning of them, the reduction blocks. I just gauge the risk. This one is 15 points of risk and 50 points of target. So risk to reward, not that great, 1 to 3. I would probably look to use the CE on this one, get a way better risk to reward, 10-point stop, 5.7 RR, way better, all right? Or you can just hold runners, up to you. So here's where it gets interesting. If you were long bias still also, this 1-minute entry trigger would have gotten stopped out. Now, this one is where it gets interesting. We tap into, or we sweep NFP low, right? We create this little tiny 1-minute rejection block. Gets absolutely ran through. And then we tap into the new week opening gap, make a 1-minute rejection block. Gets absolutely ran through. It gets a little reaction, not enough to go break even, so it gets ran through. And then we get this one, which also delivers for like 30, 40 points, but it gets ran through. And then this one is nasty. This one is like bottom of the move, low of day, and you get manipulated like this. Oof, brutal. How can we prevent this? Obviously, this one comes next, which ends up playing out for low of day. But how can we prevent this? It is extremely simple. Very, very simple. Right, so as I said, this is where I would look for shorts yesterday after we sweep out pre-market highs and we have that NFP low as a target, right? Data lows are like almost as powerful as equal highs and lows in terms of a draw on liquidity. So yeah, that's why I would have targeted that. Now, this 5-minute entry trigger, 5-minute rejection block is a little bit big. If we look at the low to high, it is like 40 points big, all right? This doesn't give us the best risk to reward in the world, to put it that way. Down to data low, it gives us a 3.8, which is not bad. But you would probably have to de-risk a little bit, probably de-risk by half, because the stop is almost 50 points, which not my thing. So 2 things you could have done to make this a better trade is to hold runners past NFP low, obviously. And you could have used the 25% of the rejection block, which does end up playing out for a 5.6, or the CE, which is also really good, but it would have gotten edged and you would not have gotten in the trade. So it's kind of up to you what you want to, what you prefer. Is it worse to get edged, not get in the trade, or is it worse to take a low risk reward trade? Up to you. So after that, there is not a single bullish entry trigger after we sweep NFP low. We in fact sweep out London low and tap into the new week opening gap, and then we get a 5-minute entry trigger right here, which ends up playing out, and it ends up being low of day. Now, see how we just cut through all that noise on the 1-minute time frame with 1 click. Target whatever you want here. You can target 10 a.m., target imbalances in this leg, whatever. Everything you do here is going to be good risk reward, right? The first potential TP is like 6.5 risk reward, all right? But see how we just cut through all of this noise by just changing time frames, right? All of this noise. And we're going to look at today's price action. It's kind of similar, actually, right? This one you would not have taken because it's so close to NFP low. So we're not trying to take bullish trades right before the draw liquidity is met. That's stupid. And then same thing on the 3-minute. First entry trigger ends up playing out for low of day, right? Pretty simple. Now, let's look at today's price action. Today was kind of interesting, but it wasn't nonsensical, if that's even a word. Right? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go in the 1-minute time frame. And our focus for this is going to be 10 a.m. open, because today we didn't have an obvious drawn liquidity like NFP low. Also, we have CPI tomorrow, which makes today slightly lower probability. Market open started chopping. We dumped, chopped, dumped, chopped, dumped. Not my favorite price action in the world. All right. So when 10 a.m. opens, we manipulate both sides and we just chop around. Looking at the 1-minute time frame, this looks horrible, right? You can't tell me this is good price action. All right. You just can't. There's nothing you can say to make me believe that this is good price action. Good. Understandable, right? Now, once again, how do we cut through all this noise? It's pretty fucking simple. Oh, didn't mean to swear, my bad. It is pretty darn simple, all right? 10 a.m. opens, manipulate both sides, bias is skewed, right? What can we do? First 5-minute entry trigger after 10 a.m. opens. What does it do? It plays out, right? Now, depending on where you put your stop on this and your take profit, obviously, this is not a trade that I would take personally. 2.3 risk reward. I don't love it. So this would either be like a static 10-pointer, or I would just put it here to cover the CE. Most likely would have done this. 15-point stop is acceptable. Also, we are covering the CE of this 5-minute, which makes our stop a decent invalidation point. Also covers, the 0.79 on the fib, which is the most discounted area of this leg. So that's good. This is a decent trade. Now you can target the first internal high, which is also in this 5-minute order block that printed. So I think that's a good trade, good take profit. And it would have been a 123.8, which is acceptable. I usually just tell everyone don't take anything lower than 1 to 3. 1 to 3 and up is like pretty good for prop firms. 1 to 3 to 1 to 6 is like the sweet spot for me, at least. Rarely take 1 to 3, so I'm not gonna lie. My personal lowest is like 1 to 4. I get questions a lot of like, how can I get stopped out less? How can I increase my win rate? And it is pretty simple. Now, is this gonna require 5 times more patience? Yes, it is. Is it also gonna give you a win rate that is probably 5 times as high? Yes, it is. So it's kind of up to you. I would say if you can afford to go heavy risk on the funded accounts, then by all means use the 1 minute. I use the 1 minute a lot. I just like to validate them pretty hard so that I don't get like these bullshit entries, okay? 5 minutes are great. You can even take 1 minute entry triggers out of 5 minutes. Like just wait for 5-minute confirmation and then like bet. I'm gonna look for a 1 minute entry. It's like a little hybrid. So yeah. If you guys were able to follow all this, you probably just learned a lot. And that is a good thing. But yeah, we can do a little car tour. Maybe just give you like a little cold start too. Here she is. Now you might wonder what this is, SLS Rally. Well, I was at an event last weekend with this truck and I was basically just fucking sending it. Whoa. Now we can do a little cold start. Might die from the fumes, but let's try. Let's put the exhaust pipes outside. Oh. The setup. Yeah, I love this car. It's probably the favorite car I've ever had. The Aston Martin, I still have it, but the window is broken, so I have to take it to the shop. And hopefully that's fixed in like a week. So hopefully that video was helpful. Go get that payout, preserve some capital, don't go into debt, and have some fun with it.